The business prospered until they had 5 shops. Ram studied hard and earned a place at Imperial College in London, where he gained a first degree in physics. His life had changed and was about to change even more. It all started with a visit to his local pub.
Here I was with very little in common with those around me, sipping away my beer, and then all of a sudden, a music group turns up at this pub. And I thought, well, that'll give me something to do. So I turned around and I watched this group. And they started singing, and I thought, oh, that's a nice... And then the words suddenly hit me. I'd heard it all the time, but this time the words hit me. Put your hands in the hands of the man from Galilee. And I said, who is this man from Galilee? I almost want to reach out and put my hand in somebody's hand, but they're saying, in the man of, who is this man? And then they talked about him.
It was the very first time Ran had heard about Jesus Christ, and he faced a dilemma.
As a Hindu, one of the struggles I had was this whole thing of karma. The principle of karma, to put it in a nutshell, is what you sow, you reap. You do good, you'll reap good. You do bad, you'll reap bad. And the struggle I had as a Hindu, and that every Hindu has, is the payment of the karmic debt. There is a debt of karma, and we have to pay it. And only I can pay it, according to Hinduism. Therefore, I must do the good that will counteract the bad, that will eventually give me a better birth in my new life. And it'll go on and on and on in a cycle of births and rebirths until I achieve nirvana. And when I was sitting in that pub and reflecting on life, the struggle really was this. I am spiritually bankrupt. My karmic debt is so big that I got a choice. I either resign myself to that and say, that's it, I've got to give up on this life, I'll go into the next life and see what happens. Or I look at this option of Christ and say, now look, Christ says he paid for all my sins. Now, I read that as Christ says he paid for all my karma, because all the bad deeds I've done, he's paid for. If this is true, then this is very exciting news indeed, because this is something worth looking at, because no other guru has ever claimed that he can pay for my karmas. No guru has made that claim. And that started making sense to me. I thought, well, maybe there's something here. And I did get to the point where I got on my knees, and I still remember doing this very, very visibly. I opened the door, the window in my room. There's these huge windows in Linstead Hall. I opened it, and I said, Lord Jesus, I confess that I've got to a point in my life where I just can't continue on my own. I need help. And I'm going to ask you to come in. I'm asking you, Lord, to come into my heart, to come into my life, to take charge and take control, and I will submit to you. I did that. That night I slept like a log. I just felt like burden lifted off me. I just felt at peace. I can't explain it. Was it emotional? Was it hype? I don't think so. I think it really was real, because I look back at that, and that was a turning point. It was the most major event and step that I've ever taken in my life, asking Jesus to enter in and take charge, because I just felt like a lifting. I let go. I was free. And suddenly a whole lot of things got free. Because as I read the Bible, I realized, for example, about idol worship and all the fear I had of daily bowing down, touching, worshipping. I was free of all that because I now worship the true and living God. It was a different experience to have a living God, someone who heard me. Prayer took on a new meaning. And it was very exciting, just the early days, just going through and discovering Jesus for myself. To my mother, I said, I'm following now. When I told her Jesus, she said, that's a swear word. You're following a rubbish God. Everyone swears in the shop, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I said, I'm following the Sanatan Satguru. She said, Guru, to I have followed many. Satguru, we read a lot in the Gurudwara. Like in Sanatan Satguru, no one has claimed that. Tell me more. And there's a whole story there I have no time for. Sanatan Satguru is John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. But nicely said in Sanskrit, beautifully understood by my mom. Or this verse, for God so loved the world. I thought hard, how can I translate from my mother? So I told her, Yesu Masih is the Bodhisattva who faithfully fulfilled his dharma, and whose merit in dying as the perfect self-sacrifice can pay for your own karma and allow our Atma to return to Brahma, resulting in full and complete moksha, negating any need for samsara.